Hi everybody, this is Mike. In this video we're going to talk about personal pronouns. Hola a todos, soy Mike. En este video vamos a hablar acerca de los pronombres personales. First off, let's talk about what is a pronoun. A pronoun is a word that we use in order to make reference to a subject instead of calling them by their own name. Let's say my own name is Mike, Miguel in Spanish. But I can make reference to myself as I instead of saying Mike. If I'm going to say Carlos, I can make reference to Carlos as you if it's in front of me, or him if I'm talking about Carlos with somebody else. So those are pronouns. In English, we have different kinds of pronouns. In this video, we're going to talk about personal pronouns. So let's check what are the personal pronouns in English, which are I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. Those are the personal pronouns, and as you can see, we can use either singular or plural. Singular would be I, you, he, she, it, and plural could be you, we, and they. In Spanish, is a little bit more complicated. I'm going to write the personal pronouns according to the personal pronouns in English. So in Spanish, we have for I have yo. For you, we have, in Spanish, we have three different pronouns. We have usted, o tú, and we have ustedes. I'm going to go over this a little bit more in detail in just a few minutes. For he, we have él. For she, we have ella. Interesting fact. In Spanish, we rarely use the pronoun it. It would be something like ello or eso, but we rarely use that. That's something that we have to keep in mind. And for we have nosotros. And for they, we have ellos. So, we would say that the two things that we have, what we need to keep in mind are, the first one, for you, we have three different pronouns. And for it, as I said before, we rarely use in Spanish the pronoun it. So, let's go over pronunciation first. I would be yo. Be careful. A lot of people, when they're teaching Spanish to foreigners, they say that yo, the sound of the yo would be something like with a Y. But that, if you make that sound, it would sound like yo. And that's not correct pronunciation in Spanish. In Spanish would be something like when you say Joe, the name Joe without the O, Joe. That's the correct pronunciation for the personal pronoun I in Spanish. Yo. So remember, it's like saying Joe without the sound of the E. Well, the E doesn't really sound in English, but without the O, Joe. That would be the pronunciation. For you, usted, which is the same as tú for singular, or ustedes for plural, for two or more people. So, if I'm talking to a single person and I'm going to say you, in Spanish I say usted if it's a formal way to communicate, or I use tú if it's somebody who is close to me, a close friend, somebody I care for, somebody who is important for me. So these are the two differences. In Spanish, we use usted or tú for you if it's singular, usted, a little bit more formal, somebody I recently met, somebody who's not a close friend. And tú, that would be the pronunciation, tú, if it's you, singular person, somebody close to me, a close friend, a dear friend, my partner, my wife, my girlfriend. And ustedes would be you if it's two or more people. Ustedes. This is kind of complicated, but that's things. That's what it is. So we need just to get used to that. For he, él. For she, ella. Again, that ella is not a correct pronunciation. It's ella, ya. Like saying jar, when you say the word in English, jar, it's the same sound. Ja, without the ja, ella. That would be the pronunciation for ella. Once again, for it, we rarely use the pronoun. It would be ello or eso. But just to keep in mind that we rarely use the pronoun it in a sentence. In fact, I'm going to explain something just in a few minutes. For we, nosotros, and for they, ellos. So those are the personal pronouns in Spanish. One thing that you need to also keep in mind when we in fluent Spanish, we used to ignore or disregard the use of the pronoun in sentences. This is something that we're going to go deep later in other videos, but just for you to know, as opposed to English, when we talk in Spanish, when we speak in Spanish, we rarely use the personal pronouns in the sentences. And that's because the conjugation of the verb already implies who is the subject who is making that action. So if in English I say, I play, you play, he plays, she plays, it plays, we play, they play, which is basically, I need to use the subject in the sentence. In Spanish, we say juego, juegas. I can say yo juego. It's correct. But in fluent Spanish, a lot of times we disregard the subject. We just say juego. Let's say, if I'm going to say I play football, in Spanish I can say yo juego fútbol, but it's more natural when I say juego fútbol. Because juego, the conjugation of the verb to play, jugar, in this case, juego, already implies that it is I who is playing. So this is some information that we should start considering about the use of personal pronouns in Spanish, but that's something that we're going to go further in detail in future videos. So in the meantime, let's just try to learn the pronouns, the personal pronouns, start using them in regular conversations. It doesn't matter if we're speaking in English, but you can start using the pronouns in order to learn them faster and easier. So once again, I, yo, you, usted or tú if it's singular, or ustedes if it's plural. He, él, she, ella, it, ello, eso. Remember, we rarely use that. We, nosotros, and they, ellos. And one last thing. My Spanish is from Colombia. Is pretty much the same as Latin America. But in Spain, they, instead of saying ustedes, they say vosotros. That's something that you may find in Spanish from Europe, from Spain. But for Latin American Spanish, Colombian Spanish, it is ustedes. So I hope this is as clear as it should be. Hopefully it would be understandable for everyone, for each and every one of you. And your assignment, your homework right now is to start using those personal pronouns in order to learn them fast and easily. So one thing that you can do is start using this in your conversations. It doesn't matter if you're just going to use the personal pronoun. You can say, Joe need to go to the store. Somebody is going to tell you, what the hell are you saying? It sounds crazy, sounds weird. And you can say, well, I'm just trying to learn Spanish. Remember, the best way to learn in this case, the best way to learn a language is by exposing yourself to the language, by using the language as much as you can, and by repeating a lot. So make this a whole learning experience for you. If you have doubts, if you have questions, check the video as many times as you need. And if you still have questions, leave a comment. I'll try and reply as soon as possible. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe in order to support the channel. And I hope to see you in future videos. Keep on studying, keep on learning, and see you later. Sigue estudiando, sigue avanzando. Nos vemos pronto. Gracias por estar aquí. Bye bye.